I just want to talk about the credit repair process. Like, I don't even want to focus on what's on the board. I want to talk about some of the facts and the myths and what you guys seem to really understand when it comes to your credit. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that I'm able to really explain this to so many people, right? Because for one, the credit repair process is a process, right? The process to restoring your credit, removing items off your credit report, right? Building positive accounts, that takes time. Like, you gotta really think about it. Some people have to clean their credit up, right? So you gotta clean it up first. Some people, you might not have any positive accounts on your credit. You gotta clean the credit up first. Start to build positive accounts, positive trade lines, right? Installment loans, revolving loans. Start to build positive credit. Now, when you're building this positive credit, you want to build it the right way. You want to be, what you would call good. You want to be good. You want to pay on time. You want to keep the utilization low. If it's a credit card, you want to hold your end of the bargain when it comes to that agreement, right? You're building the credit now, right? I explained it to someone like this. I explained it to one of my clients like this because there was an item that got deleted from her credit report, but her credit score went down, right? So she reached out and she said, I'm happy that the item got deleted off my credit report. It was a student loan. My credit score went down. So I explained to her. For one, the billing cycle didn't get a chance to update to where that negative item being removed had that impact that it was supposed to have because it still was going to raise her credit score in the long run, which it did. Right, her score went up like 50 points after she lost like 50 points. Right, I mean after she lost about probably 30 points. So you're building your credit up, you're building your credit up, you're building your credit up, right? You have to, for one, allow the negative items that's being removed to hit your score, impact your score. You have to allow the positive accounts to start to impact your score. Because one of the factors of the credit is your length of credit, right? How long have you been building credit, right? Think about it like this. If you had money and your friend came to you to borrow money, right? Which is a boy, Sarah. Sarah came to you to borrow money. Then Bill came to you to borrow money. You've been loaning Sarah money for 5 years, and Sarah pay you back your money. If y'all have an agreement to pay interest, she pay interest on the money. She do whatever it is she need to do to make sure you get your money for 5 years straight, every time on time, no excuses, right? Then you got Bill. Bill comes to you to borrow money. He pay the money back. Sometimes he pay late. Sometimes he give you a portion of the money. He been borrowing money from you for about a year. Both of these two people come to you at the same time to borrow $500. So now you thinking like, oh man, they both my friends. I got Bill and I got Sarah. Sarah been borrowing money from me for 5 years. Bill been borrowing money from me for 1 year. Who can I really get this 500 to? Because I can only really afford to give it to one of them, right? The answer would be logically, Sarah is the more responsible borrower. Sarah not only that, even if Bill was borrowing money for 5 years, Sarah would have the better, more accurate payment history. She would have 100% on time payments, and then Bill's gonna have like 50, 60% on time payment. Sometimes he split payment. He's doing different things, right? The most logical person you're going to get that money to is Sarah. That's the same thing how the creditor is looking at you and your credit reports. They're literally looking at how much money do you need to borrow from us. Credit is borrowed money. Credit borrowed money. It is ways to get free things. It is ways to get like rewards where you can like pay less for things. That is true. Like, I've done it myself. I've get a lot of cash back, especially the more you use your cards, you get cash back and things like that. Different promotions. I even paid the utility bill on my credit card one time, and it was about the bill was like the bill was pretty low. The bill was like $40 or something like that, and I ended up only paying like $21, like they literally did. They had a promotion for if you paid your utility bill with your Chase card. It was for Chase, right? So it is ways to get free things like that. But the reality of this and the gist of this and what I explain to my people and what I'm gonna emphasize on a lot in the print book that's coming out really really soon. I'm not gonna release the title, but it's gonna be out. I'm hoping March. March the print book will be out and it will be available soon for pre-order. Right? Available on Amazon, all those good bookstores, Barnes and Noble, things like that. Right? And an audio version for you guys that like to listen. But they're going to look at you the same way. How much money do you need to borrow from me, right? And the pre-approval is the topic on the board. How much money do you need to borrow from me? How quickly is you going to pay it back to me? When we going to pay it back? What's the agreement on paying it back? How much are you paying me back on a monthly basis, right? So how long are you holding the money and how good can you pay it back to me, right? How reliable are you to pay it back and then how much you going to pay back? That's how they want to look at you. You gotta put yourself in a lender's shoes and say, well, when I want to loan this person money, right? If your credit report reflects a history of um, defaulting on payments, write-offs, charge-offs, collections, the lender is going to look at you. Even if you change your ways completely, why would I want to loan this person money now? Your score is still the same. You're telling me that it's different, and you probably are different. That was 5 years ago. I've seen items on people's credit report that I've removed from 20 years ago, 1994, from a long time ago, right? So they're gonna look at you like that. But someone mentioned to me the other day, right? And it's just a conversation about credit, so I'm kind of just all over the place. They were like, I don't really understand like how the credit score goes up and down. And I was like, yo, that's a really good question. I do have some videos on it, but you could check them out, right? So I'm explaining to her like, okay, the credit score for one is like an algorithm, right? And then for two, the credit score is pretty much being balanced on your accounts, right? You have active accounts, and I talked about this on another video. You have active accounts, you have closed accounts, you have positive accounts, you have negative accounts, you have inquiries, right? And then you got all this information that's in the credit report. How much you owe, how much you owed before, how much you pay, how much is the balance, when it's time to pay, your day to last activity, um, when the card was open, how long you had the card, what's your current payment history on the card, right? There's all this information on the credit report that's showing about, let's just say it's a T-Mobile bill. It's going to show everything on that account. It's a credit card, it's going to show everything on that account. How much was your high limit? If you maxed out and you checking your credit monitor, it's going to say you're maxed out on your credit card. And it's going to come up as a negative thing because it is a negative thing to be maxed out on your credit card. Especially with personal credit card, but we'll get to business credit later, right? So they're gonna look at all these factors, and you're gonna look at all these factors and say, right, you have positive accounts, you have negative accounts, or you might have all positive accounts, you might have all negative accounts, right? But either way, you have positive accounts or you have negative accounts, right? Both of these accounts hold a certain amount of weight. Which one hold more weight as far as damaging your credit score? The negative accounts. Which one hold more weight when rising your credit score? The positive accounts, right? So when your credit score is like this, and you trying to figure out like, yo, I'm stuck at like 594. Like, what is going on? Why am I stuck at 594? Positive accounts, negative accounts. But then there's also that activity. What activity is going into these open accounts, these positive accounts? Because your account could be in positive standing, but you could also still have late payments. Late payments affect your score dramatically. 50 points or more a lot of times, especially if you got multiple late payments. The more late payments, the worse. So don't do it. Try to pay, even if it's the minimum. Pay something at the minimum. Those positive accounts. Now, what activity is going on with your positive accounts? All right. So we got these negative accounts. How old are these negative accounts? How old are the negative accounts? Is that collection that you had from LBN funding, right? Is that collection that you had, is that 5 years old? Is that 6 months old? Because how long it's been on your report affects how it's affecting your report. If the collection has been in your report for less than 2 years, it's doing more damage than if it was on your report for 5 years, for a longer period, right? The first 2 years affect is the most. However, it's still a negative account. So like I tell people too, right? Yo, I'm gonna pay the collector off. You may gain a little increase, like you'll get the same, maybe 20 points, 15 points, right? You might get a little boost for paying it, right? Something really small. You delete that collection that's tremendously affecting your score. Now you increase it. So I recommend to people that if you have inaccurate information on a credit report, to dispute it first before you agree to just settle. And you also want to try to agree to settle to get it deleted, right? So either way, I'm gonna sum this up like you got positive accounts, you got negative accounts. What activity is going into these accounts? You know exactly what you're doing. Like when you have the credit, how much credit are you using? Um, how many accounts are you applying for at once? Like I told you guys, some lenders can look at that as desperate when you're applying for too much credit at one time. So you want to be very, very mindful of how much credit you're applying for at one time, right? Very mindful of how much credit you're using at one time. Because the more you increase your limits, the more flexibility you have. But be mindful in the beginning. Be mindful when you're just starting out. Be mindful even if you just got a secure credit card. Pay it on time. Use it for something like gas. Use it for something small, and keep the process going. Right? Positive account, negative accounts. What activity you got going on? Now, as your credit score change, right? If you see a credit score go from that 594 to like a 618, then you were paying. You might have been. It might have went up because you were paying on time. Now another 30 days that went by, you got another positive payment. That's more time you're adding on to your history as well as your positive payment. You may have opened up a new credit and you might got a new credit card. So now you didn't increase your overall utilization on your overall availability with your credit. So you decrease how much you owe because you increase how much you have available. So now you got to boost your credit score. That's actually one of the easiest ways to boost your credit score. And if you want that quick little tidbit, just hit the DM. And if you're watching this on YouTube, the Instagram is I am Precious Thompson. The website is preciouscredit.net, right? So all this activity play a part. Now, say you pay late, your credit score drops. Then you pay on time, right? Then you pay something off. Everything that's happening, all of the activity that's happening is going to keep the credit score going like on a seesaw. But if you want to keep the credit score level, you really want to have as much positive activity going on as possible. You want to have a lot of consistency going on if you want your credit score to be consistent. But the more inconsistent you are with your payments and how you manage your debt and how you handle your credit, the more inconsistent your credit score is going to be, right? So I'm not even sure if I can even post this whole video, so I'm going to stop right here. I just wanted to have a quick conversation about credit, a quick convo about it, man. I want you guys to understand. Visit the website, preciouscredit.net. Go on my Instagram if you're watching this on YouTube. I am Precious Thompson. You can follow me on Instagram. Check out the page. I'm going to be posting more content, more credit stuff. And I'm going to see y'all next time every Saturday.